Hi guys, quick video. I just got through watching Emerald P 2012's video. His first one is uploaded and it's a good video. It actually inspired a thought. He was talking about the Ravens playing in the Superdome in New Orleans in 2013, and that just kicked a train of thought going. While he was talking throughout the video, this whole train of thought was just running through my mind. It took me to this reference in the video where we have the alphabet on the side and we've got the O and we've got the Z tilted off as if there's been some sort of earthquake, some sort of shift. But we've also interpreted the Z as possibly representing the letter N, as it can do if you turn it sideways. If that's the case, then you've got a reference to N and O, which could represent a number of things, like Oz, we've talked about Australia and so forth. Sorry, that's not N and O, that's O and Z. But you get what I mean. N and O looks like it could represent New Orleans. They're connected through an L, which could represent Louisiana, so you could have the whole reference there, New Orleans, Louisiana. And then we get to the actual dome itself. So I think that they may take the event to this dome rather than doing it at the dome in Atlanta. I think on the same day there's going to be a reference to a tsunami, and that would obviously incorporate the game being played in Atlanta, which is a reference to Atlantis, which was destroyed by a flood, tsunami type scenario. Another reason why I think they may pull the event off here is because on that day, on February the 3rd, Sunday, February the 3rd, while the Rams and the Patriots are playing at the Superdome, or the Mercedes Benz Superdome Stadium in Atlanta, there's going to be a concert held for the Saints, who lost, apparently unfairly, in the stadium in New Orleans. And I think that's where obviously it's a whole reference, the Saints fans being destroyed, and the Rams and Patriots playing in Atlanta, where there may be a tsunami later referencing Atlantis. It's all symbolically mixed in. So they're obviously going to play. I don't know if they're going to have the Saints go there or if they're just going to have concerts at the same time. I would guess if they're holding a concert for the Saints, then the Saints members will be there, whether they're playing or not, or whether they're just enjoying the concert. Most likely just enjoying the concert that's being held in their honor, because people think they were cheated in the last game that they played against the Rams, I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this wouldn't be happening otherwise. If the Saints weren't cheated, there wouldn't be anything going on in the stadium at the same time as there was something going on in the other stadium in Atlanta. So they've set it up so that there's people occupying the stadium, and there'll be a large number of people occupying the stadium. The goal for these people is to try and compete with the viewership of the Super Bowl, and they're calling it Boycott Bowl. So it's very interesting. And then that reminds me of this scene here. When Emerald P talks about Ravens, it instantly brought my mind to this scene here, because this is where we see the Ravens, and they're coming out of a dome that has a hole in the top. And tied in with the whole cave-in reference that they're using in reference to Donald Trump and the Democrats and the war, we could be looking at a Superdome cave-in. And when I was looking at that, I found this report, which was published on January 24th, 2 days ago, about pieces of the Superdome in New Orleans falling during the NFC Championship. The ceiling falling. So it just says here, New Orleans Saints outside linebacker Demario Davis intercepts a first quarter pass during the NFC Championship game between the Los Angeles Rams and the New Orleans Saints at the Superdome on Sunday, January the 20th, 2019. So this match, where the Saints were cheated, a piece of the ceiling fell off in the Superdome in New Orleans, where they're going to be holding a honorary concert for the Saints on February the 3rd, while the Super Bowl is going on in Atlanta on the same day. And we already have a report of pieces of the ceiling falling. Now, stadiums are supposed to be built to withstand such things. They're obviously built for large crowds of concerts and football games and all sorts of things take place in the stadiums. People stamping their feet, cheering. There's something going on here. If pieces are, pieces of the ceiling are falling, then there's some weakness in the structure. And that could very well be what this scene is referencing here, a collapse of the ceiling at the dome, the Superdome in New Orleans on February the 3rd during the Super Bowl. So while everyone's, watching the Super Bowl, something else goes on, which has very similar references, but is not exactly the place, which is a kind of another connection to their Super Bowl LIII, which Emerald P cleverly references Super Bowl lie. So it definitely could be a misdirect in that sense. So keep your eyes open for both stadiums on February the 3rd. But considering the Saints may be in this stadium, the Saints fans will be there. It's a competing thing with the Rams and the Patriots, where we have a whole satanic reference with that match. And the Saints, obviously, the name is, is completely associated with good. And they could be, destroyed in a collapse of the stadium. This is just my thoughts. I hope nothing happens like that. But considering references to cave-in, the Super Bowl coming up, the reference to Super Bowl lie, the boycott bowl going on the same day, where we've got the Saints fans and reports of pieces of the ceiling falling, it seems to be lining up to something like that happening. And in this particular scene, while we have a reference to what could be the dome as well as a mosque, it's all integrated. Sorry, let's see if I can just get it on there 1 second. One brief moment. So yeah, it all seems to be integrated into one. So I'm looking out for something happening to Donald Trump on January the 30th, and then looking out for Iran retaliation on January the 31st. And then we go above and we see the Ravens flying out of a collapsed dome, which could be a reference to the Superdome in New Orleans collapsing on February the 3rd. And then we've got the reference to Atlanta with the other game going on in the other Superdome in Atlanta. So that's a reference to Atlantis. Tsunamis going on. And again, as we kind of a little bit more, we can see that there's obviously turbulent water here. This whole thing is referenced also as a submarine. So, there's obviously references to submarines coming out and launching missiles, which is a reference as SLBM, submarine ballistic launched missiles or whatever. You've got like a large ship over here, could be an aircraft carrier, looking like it's tilting to the side, as well as representing buildings as well. These could be buildings along the coast of the United States or other countries being caught up in the tsunami that's currently happening. And in the background, I pointed out before, all this smoke billowing up and outwards is a volcanic eruption, or at least a big nuclear detonation in the ocean, if it's not a volcanic eruption, which would signify the H-bomb from North Korea or something similar. It's taxing, but I'm giving you everything I've got because I'm concerned that it could actually happen. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Emerald P, thank you for following your heart and making the video. This is how it seems to be working. One person makes a video, it inspires another person to make a video, which inspires another person to make a video, and that way we seem to have, if not covered all the events that may happen, we've covered a lot of them. The Super Bowl theory coming up quite late, but still with enough time to get the warning out there. So you guys, do your best to alert people to the potential of something happening, so at least they can be aware and not shocked if something happens like that. Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.